Okay then, this vid goes out to Donzalug, who requested a video. Donzalug 1400, who requested that I do a video about my favorite RPGs of all time, my top 10. So let's get it started now. Or I shouldn't say let's get it started. Before I do this, let's make clear what an RPG is, okay? It's a game where you gain experience, level up. You normally have a party or multiple characters. You use money to buy new equipment, and you become stronger in order to reach a goal. So here are the top 10 RPGs that I think people should play, or genres, or series, RPG series. Okay, if it's not a single RPG. Number 10, old Final Fantasy, the whole series. I think any RPG fan should have played like Final Fantasy 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. The 8-bit and 16-bit era Squaresoft RPGs. Excellent stuff. Okay? If I had to put a number, like for number 10, if I had to choose one of those, I'd say Final Fantasy VI. Yes, Final Fantasy VI is number 10 of the top 10 RPGs of all time. Okay, in my opinion. Number 9. This is going to be one that is not. I'm going to say Dragon Quest 3. Dragon Quest 3 is basically was cool because you could create your own characters, you could change classes, you could basically building up your characters to impossibly high levels and stats, making them into real badasses. The first RPG that wanted you to break the game. Rewarded you for breaking the game. So, in that note, Dragon Quest 3, you gotta play it. Now, where could you get Dragon Quest 3? The Game Boy Color, the original NES, but the Game Boy Color version is probably easier, so there you go. Number 8. Okay, number 8. Number 8 top RPG that people should have played, like the greatest RPG ever, is Earthbound. Yes, I know some people will be like, well, you should go higher. Earthbound is a great RPG. It is deceptively simple. It is a deceptively simple RPG, but it is not a simple game. Okay? And, like, the humor in Earthbound is so just funky that it kicks it over the top. Okay? Number 6, top RPG of all time that I just enjoy the hell out of is a little known RPG on the Sega Master System, or Sega Genesis. Phantasy Star 4. That's right. Phantasy Star 4 is one of my favorite RPGs of all time. And it is really friggin' good. Of all time. Number 5. Number 5 was a tough one. But it's a PS2 era RPG. And it's not what you think it is. It's a little game called Rogue Galaxy by Factor 5. Or not Factor 5, Level 5. It's a really good game. It's kind of like the spiritual successor to... Dark Cloud, but it kicks Dark Cloud's ass. So both games, it kicks both of those games' asses. It's a really good game. Has a great storyline, has great character development. It's very beautiful. It's a gorgeous game. And it's got over-the-top special attacks, stat building, parties, all the great stuff we love. Number 4, Dragon Quest VIII. Dragon Quest VIII is one of my favorite RPGs of all time. It's just very, very good. That game is sweet. It's what you want in a Dragon Quest game, even more so. Number 3, Dragon Quest IX. Yes, I said it. Dragon Quest IX on the Game Boy, the DS, is a great game. The storyline was not very good, but man, was it a fun game to play. Number 2, great game, great RPG. A little game for the SNES called Secret of Mana, aka Seiken Densetsu 2. Seiken Densetsu 1 was Legend of was Mystic Sword. Mystic Legend. So Seiken Densetsu 3 was Secret of Mana, and Seiken Densetsu 2 was Secret of Mana, and Seiken Densetsu 3 was the Secret of Mana sequel that we never got here in America, which kind of sucks because it's a friggin' awesome game. Okay, and the number 1 RPG of all time that everyone should play, like no hands down, no questions asked, Chrono Trigger. I don't care which version you play. You can get it on the PSN, you can get it on the PlayStation, you can get it on the SNES, you can get it. Chrono Trigger is like the top friggin' game of all time. I love it. It is my favorite RPG of all time. Chrono Trigger is one of those rare, perfect RPGs. And when I say perfect, I mean literally Chrono Trigger is perfect. The characters are perfect. The attacks are perfect. The story is perfect. The battle system is perfect. The enemies, the difficulty is just perfect. It is a perfect game. And the great thing about Chrono Trigger is, like, the problem that a lot of people have in a lot of RPGs that have, like, a huge party where you have more characters than you can actually use is that there's always a core group of characters that you use for everything, and then some other characters that you really don't care about whatsoever. Well, Chrono Trigger basically gets around that because all of the characters are useless. It just depends on which team are useful. It just depends on which team you want to use. For example, I'm a big Frog, Isla, Chrono fan, okay? For my final battle in the game. Why? Because Frog and Isla can use a dual tech called Slurp Kiss, which heals for a shitload, okay? Now, if you combine that healing ability with a haste helm for Frog so that he can use his Slurp Kiss and his heal abilities like almost instantaneously, combined with Chrono's natural speed, you're talking about a game like you can kill Lavos very quickly. And once you've played through the game 3, 4, 5 times and you've leveled up your characters enough to where they're like beasts, oh, it's great. But all the characters are awesome. Frog is a badass with the Mass Mune. Isla is a badass when she hits like level 85, 90 and she learns the bronze, the silver fist, which replaces her normal fist. It's basically does a huge amount of damage. Luca's a badass with her machine techs. Robo's a like all the characters are cool. Magus is a badass. I mean, this game is perfect. It's the perfect RPG. Unfortunately, Square doesn't make games of that caliber anymore, so we'll never get a proper Chrono Trigger sequel. We'll never get one, so there's that. But fortunately, Chrono Trigger is widely available. You can download it on the PSN, as I said. You can use other illicit means. I won't say what they are. I'll discombobulate the names. You can use a Rimulator and Palms. But Chrono Trigger is a great game and you should play it. Top of the line RPG. It's my #1 RPG of all time. It beats out everything else. There's no other RPG that has existed that comes close to the perfection of Chrono Trigger. Not even close. So there we are, my top 10 RPGs of all time. That there's no excuse for people not playing them, because they need to be played right now. Okay, we're done. You guys have a good night.